to the Science Show. Today we'll be discussing one of my favorite topics in chemistry, titration. Titration is used to determine an unknown molarity of an acid or base by adding the opposite type of solution. Titration can be expressed by this equation. This variable refers to the volume of the acid. This variable refers to the molarity of the acid. This fraction refers to the number of moles of hydrogen for 1 mole of the acid. On the other side, you have the volume of the base, the molarity of the base, and the number of moles of hydroxide ions per 1 mole of the base. Think this is easy? Let's try an example. If 15 milliliters of 0.50 molar sodium hydroxide is used to neutralize 25.0 milliliters of acetic acid, what is the molarity of the acid solution? Now, let's set up our equation. First, to fill out this fraction, we have to determine the number of moles of hydrogen ions per mole of acid. Our acid is HC2H3O2, acetic acid. Acetic acid has 1 hydrogen ion per molecule. This is how you know that it has 1 mole of hydrogen ions per mole of the acid. So this fraction is going to be 1 mole hydrogen ions over 1 mole of acetic acid. You're going to multiply that by the volume of the acid, which in this case is 25.0 milliliters. You'll multiply this by the molarity of the acid. In this case, that is the unknown of our equation, so we're just going to leave it as Ma. Now we need to determine the number of moles of hydroxide per mole of base. The base we're working with is sodium hydroxide, which has 1 hydroxide ion per molecule. So it has 1 mole of hydroxide per mole of the base. So it's going to be 1 over 1 once again. Now, we're going to add in the volume of the base, 15.0 milliliters, and the molarity of the base, 0.5 molar. Now, we're going to solve for this unknown variable here. Alright, so now we're going to solve the equation. We're going to combine like terms in our good old TI-84, 15.0 times 0.5, getting this from over here, times 1 divided by 1, it's going to be 7.5. On this side, we have 25.0 times 1 divided by 1, which is 25 times the molarity of the acid. So now we'll divide both sides by 25 to determine the molarity of the acid. Our acid has a 0.3 molarity.
And now for some real-world applications. Aquariums often use titration to test their water. Sometimes, when testing foods, fat-free foods and such, titration is used. Lastly, medication testing in labs quite often uses titration.
Thank you and have a nice day. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation.